Ladies and gentlemen of Wade's World, today I come to you with a somber tone, and that's because I don't really like making these kind of videos, but I do feel they're necessary for whatever this channel is. I'm still trying to honestly figure it out. I'm just kind of doing what I want and sometimes what I don't, and that's one of these videos today where I once again delve into the social enigma, the person that quite frankly probably is least served to be a social enigma and probably shouldn't be on social media. I'm talking again about Fousey because as of, I guess, yesterday or maybe the day before, Fousey had another one of his crash outs. And I put that in air quotes because I'm starting to get fed up with the term because it's used to describe people just acting irrationally and doing things clearly for attention, clearly for clips on the internet, and clearly so much so for the approval of others. And in the case of Fousey, it's almost the boy who cried wolf, a man that I've spoken to privately. I have seen go through a ton of troubles that I think, quite frankly, at this point, needs to stop making content because he's clearly not mentally in a state to do it, and he keeps making it worse. It's a vicious cycle that continues on, and I think it's time for it to stop because all it really does is show us that the character Fousey brings out the worst versions of the person Yusuf, a narcissistic, attention-craving, self-righteous asshole that will say and do whatever he wants to whoever he wants, when he wants, because in moments like these, he feels some sort of moral superiority over them. I don't want you to mistake these harsh words for me trying to cut a man or kick him while he's down. That's not it. But when he is the root of his own evil, there needs to be a come to Jesus moment. And I don't know if that means figuratively, literally, or otherwise, but Yusuf needs to hear this. If it's not from the people closest to him or the people that are around him, it'll be from me. He needs to stop social media. Because whether you believe it's an act for the cameras and he's just clip farming and trolling, or you think this is really someone that's having a manic episode and breaking down mentally, physically, and completely in front of your eyes, it's not good for him. And it's only going to end one way. So if you're asking after this monologue of an intro what I'm talking about, let's get into what Yusuf has become. Quite frankly, for the sake of money and attention. It's super sad, but I think we need to do this. Let's take a look. So like I said, you guys know this. We made a video, I feel like it was just yesterday, couple weeks ago, where we talked about Yusuf and how it looked like he was starting to fall back into these episodes that he has, or these tendencies that he has to crash out over the internet, or in my words, do and say anything for attention, regardless what the repercussions are and what he has to say to get attention. It's very, very bad, and he has a history of doing this. I mean, we can even go back all the way to 2018, where the infamous Rose July 15th concert was, and here's him with Keemstar talking.
You know what my next manifestation is? How about I share that with you?
Okay.
J. Cole is in the Staples Center next month on August 23rd and 24th.
Okay.
It's a sold-out show. If I am not on stage on August 23rd or...
Why are they playing the circus music? This is not a video that I'm trying... What the
24th, and before J. Cole comes out, I give the speech I intended to give on July 15th, okay? If I am not on that stage and he's on my side and I have my dog Dollar, because my dog Dollar passed away this week last year, so I'm doing this for him to fulfill the dream I promised him. If I am not on that stage, I promise you to walk away from YouTube, my whole acting career, me wanting to do what I want to do in life. I'll live in isolation, and no one will hear from me ever again.
Again, you see Keemstar's face, but look at the things he's promising. He's promising to not do the things that he wants to do in life and live in isolation. This was 6 years ago. You still hear this same stuff out of Yusuf in 2024. He was on Twitter the other day, reaching out, trying to get Russ to meet him, trying to get J. Cole to meet him once again. The reality is, Yusuf doesn't know what he wants. That's the reality of the situation. It's not he wants to be a singer, he wants to be a rapper. He genuinely has no idea what he wants out of life anymore, and it's probably for a variety of reasons. He is probably mentally so strained from the corruption that money gave him when he was at the top of the YouTube game. I heard him say one time, and I don't know that I believe him because there's a lot that Yusuf says that isn't necessarily in reality true. He said something like, I had $15 million in you know, the way that YouTube monetization was working back when he was on top of the game. It makes some sense that he had a lot of money to him and that he blew it all and that he's made these comebacks and fall-offs and comebacks and fall-offs. It's because he's not understanding what it is that he truly wants. He knows how to get views. He knows how to create attention and buzz. But ultimately, the craziest thing about it is that he wants just to be a star. He wants to be the thing that we, I hope, are discouraging our kids and their kids from being, which is just a social media influencer to be a social media influencer. You get what I'm saying? Like, yes, I am on YouTube and I do commentary about things that I care about, like boxing and MMA and sometimes football and basketball, covering current events with you guys here on Wade's World. But I'm seeing an uptick in trends of just children wanting to be influencers for the sake of just being them, just because they want attention, just because they see money and they see fame, and the same reasons maybe they wanted to be movie stars and musical artists and athletes, but without the actual passion to do what they want to make the money and the fame like athletes and actors and musicians did, if that makes sense. That's how I see Yusuf. His passion is, I want attention at all costs. And he does these drastic things. And again, they always end up backfiring, because at the end of the road, when you push away all the stuff that he says about, wanting to be a motivational speaker, I think he said, and wanting to be a musician, these are all little things that are just going to try to keep relevancy on his name. At the end of it, it's empty. There's nothing there for him to latch onto, for him to want to be, which is why I think even as far back as 6 years ago, when he was going through, again, I call it a mental episode. I think the guy has completely just drained himself mentally and only knows how to do the thing that he really shouldn't do with his life. It's like somebody that only knows war, or only knows addiction, or only knows the thing that they do well or function well on is the very thing that's keeping them from being their happiest self. And quite frankly, these addictions to whatever it is, attention, fame, money, they turn him into a terrible person, like they do for most people that only fetishize money, fame, attention, because those things are vapid. They're not real, at least not in the sense of pride and wanting and dreaming and becoming the person that you want to be. He has no idea what he wants. And this is why this keeps happening. So that was in 2018. And then he came back to be a boxer. And fair play, some of the tenets of the Wolf, as he was calling himself at this point in 2022, were good ones. Things like him getting in shape. Things like him dedicating himself to his religion. I think he is a Muslim, and he was very, very devout at this point, and he was focused, and he was switched on, and I saw him during this time frame, and again, you could tell in his eyes he was searching for something. He was searching for meaning, searching, again, maybe for attention. And also money. I know he got paid a lot for this, but at the end of it, it was just another character that Yusuf could play. The Wolf. The guy that was, I don't want to say a tough guy, because he didn't present himself like a tough guy. He just presented himself as a guy that worked hard and wanted to do something. He wanted to motivate himself to be a different person, or try to. And I think that's another thing, even though I thought all the tenets of his boxing here, had he maybe kept up, maybe not boxing, but with the tenets of what got him there, would have been more productive than the things that came after it. They still were just a cloak, just something for him to wear to get that next thing out of his life. He ended up fighting Deji, and he broke his nose because he physically wasn't a boxer, and he had the chain, the wolf, and the whole thing. You go to his message that he left for people to see on his Instagram. And again, nothing wrong with this, but he said, just left the doctor's office, not sure. And sure enough, it's broken, will require surgery this week. Look in the mirror, brings up so many mixed emotions. I have two options. One, complain, cry, mope, feel sorry for myself, sit and regret, blame others, and quit. Or two, thank God, smile, and count my blessings. Well, right now, and we'll get to it, I'm building my argument here, I guess building the reasons why I say the things that I said in the intro. Number one is what he does more often than anything else, and again, this is not a shot at Yusuf, but it is a reoccurring theme, is that when he gets in trouble, or when something doesn't work out, or when he puts his mind to something and it ends up taking a hard left, and he is the one driving the car and ripping that wheel to the left, and again, crashing out, as the kids are saying, the reality of it just being that he is steering himself down a very dark road, he is quick to mope and complain and point the finger, and it's everybody else's fault, without taking responsibility, true responsibility for his actions, because that would mean stripping away all the layers of ego and addressing the fact that maybe this thing that he is very good at, again, creating attention, getting eyeballs, is the very thing he should stop doing permanently. Which brings us to, today. And again, after Fousey joined Kick last year and had a complete mental breakdown, I thought that would maybe be it. And that wasn't. And then we watched him, going crazy on the beach somewhere in the last video we made, and I thought that would be it. But then here, Yusuf is yesterday displaying the same pattern of behavior, and again, as a grown man who definitely understands that his vices are the things that keep getting him into trouble, and he says he can contain it, he cannot. And honestly, when I usually would say get professional help doesn't even seem to help Yusuf in these moments, Because here he is, apparently, again, this could be a bit that he just takes too far, but here he is talking to a therapist yesterday on Kick, and yeah.
Job and not letting me embarrass myself on the internet.
You said you can't yell that loud at me and expect you to be safe. You can't. Your body can't take it. Your mind won't be able to take it. I'm telling you the truth. When you get that upset, we're dangerous. Physically and emotionally.
You're right.
Spiritually.
You're right. I am dangerous. I am dangerous. I'm very dangerous, and I don't give a fuck because I'm safe with it.
You have to be. You have to be.
See, the reality of the situation is Yusuf is only a danger to himself. And whatever character, whatever personality he's playing here is not in the least bit dangerous to anybody else, right? And that's a very much like ego-driven, no, I'm a dangerous guy, you got to watch me. And sitting here, screaming at this therapist who, I don't know who this poor lady is, but this is not what's going to help Yusuf. Everybody coddling him and saying, oh, we're so sorry and you can't be acting like this and you have to be better and it's okay. No, it's not okay. I'm sorry. I don't have a lot of sympathy at a point where you start to disrespect other people and you start to point the finger at those people who are there to help you and start to tell them how bad they are at what they're doing, that they're the ones that are at fault, that it's their fault you're acting like this, and that's not true. Again, hate to see Yusuf going through this kind of stuff, but it doesn't gain any sympathy, and in fact, it makes you look like a spoiled brat when you act like this as a grown man on the phone, on live stream, once again, for the reoccurring swinging fucking door. And I'm sorry, I'm cursing. I get real upset when people start acting like this and taking advantage of other people's time, money, and effort to help them just because they're so self-centered, so ego-driven, so attention-seeking that they don't even stop for a second and think, where does the bit in the reality of the situation begin? It's a scumbag behavior from Yusuf. And what I'm not going to do is give him a pass for doing that. No matter what he's mentally going through, I get that it's tough. There's no excuse to act like this to people. And time again throughout the years, he has, by the internet standard and honestly by a lot of the people around him, gotten away with it because they allow him to talk to them in any certain way and they just look to nurture and coddle. He does not need that. He needs a cold dose of reality, and that is that he needs to get his act together and be a grown man. Understand that, again, he is the only person in control of him. That's it. Here's on the same day, I think. I'm not exactly sure how the timeline works out. This is apparently someone Yusuf hired to be his manager. I'm not exactly sure, but during, again, one of his live streams, because the audience is watching and you got to make it spicy, here he goes, again, just saying the most disrespectful things to another human just because he can, or at least he thinks he can.
Whatever Z-listers you worked with before me, and then come back when you're ready. You don't got it yet.
So it's, again, you see, and I don't even know what the conversation is, but he's essentially firing this guy, saying, go back and work for whatever Z-listers you used to work for, then come back to me because you ain't got it yet, and starts putting his hands on him like, yeah, buddy, get out of my presence because you're not worth the time to be here. And again, it's super disrespectful. No other job in regular civilized life is going to have this sort of interaction, but because I guess Yusuf thinks he is better than this guy and better than the rest of us Z-listers, whatever that is, he can just talk to him anyway, start putting his hands on him, and just, again, degrading him after all the things that he's been through and all the things he talks about his mental health and how people should be nicer and how religious he is and all the tenets and principles that he started to preach at people after his mistake after mistake after mistake. But this guy gets the yeah, buddy, and get the fuck out of my face.
Whatever Z-listers you worked with before me, and then come back when you're ready. You don't got it yet. Shake your head, say what you want to say.
So yeah, this guy, fair play to him. He just walks away, but again, because Yusuf needs attention, he needs some validation for the reason he's angry, and he wants to start a problem. He just keeps talking.
Go home and play mad. Oh, I wish I cussed him out. I wish I socked him in the face. You suck, and I'm telling you that to your face, dog. Okay. You have nothing to say. You don't want to defend your art.
Look at again. You're trying to antagonize the guy. You suck, and I'm telling you to your face. You got nothing to say. There's nothing to be said. You've degraded this guy. You've told him he ain't shit. I'd be like, all right, cool. I'm out too. I ain't got to do this shit. I'm not working for you. Who would want to work for a guy like this? Who would want to be around a guy like this? Nobody is the answer. And it's not because of anybody else but Yusuf.
I have nothing to say to you other than I can't believe
how
disrespectful you've been to me.
I can't believe how disrespectful you've been to my company live, motherfucker.
Again, Yusuf is just a scumbag for acting like this because this guy just told him to his face the actual dose of reality he needs. But just like a scared person, animal, anything in life, he wants to bite. He wants to just chomp back instead of accepting the reality of what this guy is telling him, that he alienates people, that he pushes everyone away and blames everybody else. for all of his shortcomings. All he wants to do is get more aggressive.
You promised me the world. You tried.
I did promise you the world.
You made me lose.
When did I promise you the world?
Hey, I'll be there at 6 p.m. tomorrow. We didn't start till 7. Hey, there's gonna be thousands of people there. I brought the people there. Are you dumb, Rain? Listen, I don't care if I disrespected you. That's your problem to go home and grow some balls. You don't have any yet.
Are you? Excuse me?
You heard me.
I did. Are you gonna? Like, what the fuck are you saying?
So that interaction leads to something even worse, which is once again Yusuf not being able to understand that he is the catalyst for the fire that continues burning in these situations, and he is the reason that fire burns his entire empire, his entire G9, G8, G7, Wolf, Rose, Fousey, whatever character he's playing, to the ground, because he doesn't understand he is the problem.
Don't worry about Chuck E. Cheese, faggot.
Suck my fucking dick.
Come here. Make me something. Make me something. Really? Something big? Say it to my face, nigga! Sock you in the face, bitch! Sue me! Sue me!
So yeah, when things don't go Yusuf's way, and someone stands up to him like a toddler, he throws out slurs, punches the guy in the face, which is assault, unprovoked, other than the other guy finally standing up for himself and hurling back an insult after being completely degraded and told he was nothing and then cursed at on his way out. Because once again, when push comes to shove, power, money, attention are the only things on Yusuf's mind. And when he doesn't have those things, he lashes out, does and says things that are just complete garbage behavior from an adult man, and then puts on the tough guy act, starts swinging punches while there's someone hit between him and the other guy clearly not wanting to fight. Like, we didn't see that every time someone did want to fight Yusuf, he got his ass whipped in every single fight on the internet ever. That, my friends, is what we call pussy shit. And again, not doing this to kick a man while he's down. I'm doing this because coddling Yusuf and again, letting him continue to run amok on the internet has not worked for the last 10 years. It needs to stop. And just one more for good measure. Again, I don't know when this is in the timeline, but here's Yusuf smacking the shit out of his own camera and cameraman, I assume, just for doing what they're supposed to. Maybe getting a little too close, but instead of handling it like an adult, he decides to physically get violent with this individual.
Listen, you guys know I talk a lot. These motherfuckers that are on the internet right now stop getting fucking face. These motherfuckers talking about me. Yeah, you're doing it again. Hey, are you slow? Lean backward. I didn't ask you this before I got here. Are you slow a little?
No, I'm not.
These motherfuckers who are now tweeting about me, telling me I should be in jail.
Who would want to be around this guy? What rational person would want to work for this guy? Would want to be around him? I don't even know who that is. From, again, my personal interactions with Yusuf, being friends with someone like that is going to be a very tough thing, because that right there looks like a very selfish, self-centered person that doesn't care about anybody else but themselves, and again, just treats the people around them like shit just for attention. So then, apparently, Yusuf gets banned off of Kick. Rightfully so, because at a certain point, the platform that you're on needs to take action when you are repeatedly breaking rules, saying slurs, violently assaulting people, assaulting your own team verbally and physically. It's just, at some point, Kick had to step in. They did. They banned him off the website. And then, again, predictably, as the cycle goes, all of the sudden then, only when he's banned and the show is over and there are no more eyes on the train wreck that he has created himself, not anybody but him has done, do we then see the emotions come out, the sorrow, I don't even know if this is accountability. I haven't watched the video yet, but you start to see the sad song story from Yusuf once again that, again, I hate to say it, but is an amalgamation of The Boy Who Cried Wolf. We've seen it so many times. But here's the tweet before we look at the video. I'm so sorry. The adrenaline wore off, and I'm back to reality. I realize what I've done. Again, after he has been banned on Kick. I always do this. It's always Fousey versus Yusuf. He is right here. He does always do this, but he's wrong that it's always Fousey versus Yusuf. Fousey is a character that he has made to mask any wrongdoing that he does, right? Because that was Fousey that did it. That wasn't Yusuf. No, it was Yusuf that did that. It was Yusuf that punched that guy. It was Yusuf that cursed the guy out, was calling him slurs. It was Yusuf that smacked this cameraman. It was Yusuf that was treating the people around him like shit. I don't want to see this. Well, that was Fousey. That's the character. Yusuf's a different guy. Prove it. Be yourself. If that's what you're saying, then prove it. He can't do that because that's not what makes him the money. That's not what gives him the attention. That's not what brought him fame. And those are the demons that he has to continue to struggle with, because as good as he is at making content, as good as he is at getting attention, the way he goes about it under the guise of Fousey or Rose or The Wolf or whoever, G7, G8, G9, that little battle he is saying, Fousey versus Yusuf, it'll never end because it's not Fousey versus Yusuf. It's Yusuf versus himself. He says, but I'm back to being me now. Pray for me. Actually, pray for everyone. We should all love each other. G7, G8, G9, let's keep growing together. Heart. That doesn't cut it. That doesn't cut it. We should all love each other until I'm not getting the viewership that I want. We should all love each other until I'm not getting the attention and the money and the fame that I want. And then here comes the old crash out. It's garbage, man. It's garbage. And here is the video.
Look, I'm going to try my best not to cry. I've been under so much stress because I promised Eddie and Akil I wouldn't crash out like last year. That my adrenaline shot up and I don't even remember the last 48 hours now that I'm out of it. And now that I calmed down, I'm realizing all the destruction that I caused, and this happens to me all the time.
You notice he says this happens to me all the time. I told Eddie I didn't want to crash out like last time, and I was so stressed because I told him that. Listen to the way he talks, and genuinely, this is sad to see. And I'm not. We're not going to sit here. And again, this video is not for me to kick Yusuf while he's down. It's not it. But just hear the way he speaks about it. This always happens to me. No, he does this to himself. I was stressed because I promised Eddie I wouldn't crash out like last time, but he knows. And the reason he is stressed is because the things that he needs to do to secure whatever deal, and when he says Eddie, he's talking about the money guy behind Kick and State, that he didn't want to crash out, knowing that the thing that's going to get him the numbers that he wants to get whatever deal I assume was on the table for him with Kick, are the crash out moments, are the Fousey crashes out on manager, Fousey acts like a crazy man, Fousey does something to endanger his or somebody else's life. That's why he's so stressed. He knows if he doesn't keep the gimmick up, this goes away because he doesn't know how to be himself. And he's not actively trying to find it. All he's doing is actively trying to do what he's good at. Get attention.
I'm not even going to sit here and say sorry but I'm trying to explain to y'all, now that my adrenaline dumped and I'm back to Yusuf, and I open Twitter and I see what Fousey did, I'm like, I feel so much better now, though. I feel free. I feel so free.
No, I mean, he's not free. He's not free. This is a guy that still is not understanding it. And I'm sorry. Again, that's so sad to see that psychologically he's just so lost. And this is why I said there's no break that needs to come from social media. He does need to step away. This is an addiction at this point. This is not a job. This is not something he loves. It's an addiction. Like alcohol, like sex, like drugs, like gambling, like whatever else you can become addicted to in life. This is an addiction for Yusuf. And you even hear him there again talking about, now that I'm back to normal and I'm back to Yusuf and I'm not Fousey, I saw what Fousey did, but Yusuf didn't. Bullshit. He did this. And he always has been the one doing it. But this is my message to Yusuf. It's quite simply, this needs to be the end of the line for social media. Genuinely, in my opinion, it needs to be the end of the line because no matter how innocent it starts, it always ends up in the same place. The pursuit of attention, fame, and money without a real basis behind it, without a real passion for what's at the end of the road when all those things are pushed aside. Could he do this if no one was paying attention? Would he do this if no one was paying attention? Would he do this if there was no money involved? Would he do this if there was no fame involved? And it's been said that money and lust for fame and all these things are the root of all evil. And for Yusuf, it does genuinely feel like that. It feels like it brings out the worst parts of him and the parts that he says and does things that he expects forgiveness for that sometimes are unforgivable. I mean, genuinely, to treat people that way, to just say whatever words come to your mouth because you're insecure, you're ego-driven, you want to blame other people for your downfall. That's stuff that if it happens once, okay, people make mistakes. If it happens again, starting to sense a trend. If it keeps happening and it is the basis for where the peak of whatever it is that you're going to get to every time you're upset is, It's not a mistake, it's a habit, and one that needs to be broken now. I think that Yusuf could really do well with getting away from the internet, and not for an extended period, not for a break, for forever, and going out on a different path in life. Because the evidence shows us year after year after year, no matter how much you coddle him, no matter how many times you tell him it's okay, no matter how many restarts he gets, he ends up in the same place. Again, a danger to himself and everybody else. So that's what I think. You guys let me know in the comments below. At this point, what do you do if you're Yusuf, if you're a close friend or somebody that has the ear of Yusuf? I don't have those answers. But for his own good, genuinely, with no other intent other than to say, I hope that something better happens for him. I hope he makes the right choice. I hope that he understands how crucial it is that he makes a change. Yusuf, you have to do something different. Otherwise, much like every other time he has been on the internet, it's not going to end well. That's all I got. I'll see you guys in the next one. Like I said, I don't really like making these, but I felt it was important. So let me know what you think down below, and I'll see you next time.